This is the 149th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the 4th week of August 2013. This episode is titled Stream TV Showdown. CloudFocus Weekly is sponsored by Arkus, cloud computing experts. I'm your host, Jason Howard, and joining me in the showdown to get to the lowdown is Justin Nelson. Justin, how have you been in the last 5 minutes?
I am so ready. So ready. I'm so excited.
So this
149. Next one will be 150.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We should do that from San Francisco.
I think we should.
And we might do
150 is cool.
150 is cool. 200 is even better.
Cool.
Where's our 100th? Oh, there it is.
There it is on the wall.
Let's
have a showdown.
All right. So this is a special episode.
Forget the blog posts.
Let's
show down.
This is our episode. We've been asked for people who have asked us to. We talk about TV a lot.
We do.
We could talk about current TV, but we figured to make this part of the CloudFocus Weekly, we would do a top 10 streaming TV shows, so shows that you can stream, because really, real TV is kind of like going away now. And it's kind of dishonest because you could almost stream everything. You can almost stream everything.
Pretty much.
So,
I mean, if you own a Slingbox, you could stream everything.
Right. So, I mean, whatever. And then all things have like on demand, but whatever. So this is our top TV streaming
things
TVs.
You could watch from streaming services.
And here's the game, because we love playing games. Our game is we're going to go through our top 10.
Right.
From 10 to 1. So 10 being your least favorite of the top 10, 1 being your most favorite.
Right.
We're each going to go back to forth. So you're going to do your 10, I'll do my 10. If we have any mixes, meaning your 10's my 5th, we'll then say it at that point and go on. We'll have a discussion about it.
I'm going to trump you. I trump you.
And then,
I see your 10 and I raise you 5.
There's no winners, just losers. No, the winners are you people listening, because you get to listen
this
to
is
our
a cool podcast.
So,
if you tuned in thinking you were going to hear about Microsoft Azure, CloudFocus Weekly, folks.
It's not happening.
Not happening today.
This is all about TV. So turn off now if you don't want to hear about great TV shows.
Spoiler alerts. Sorry, guys.
Oh, really? No. No spoiler alerts.
No, I'm saying it right now. Spoiler alerts. If we spoil something for you, apologies.
Oh, but we're not going to try.
We're not going to try and spoil things.
Like, I'm not going to tell you what happened at the end of a Seinfeld. Like, I'm not going to tell you what happened. Like the last episode, you shouldn't. What if I just spilled that? Like, what happens if they went to jail? Oh God! I just did that.
See, but I already said spoiler alert. So spoiler alerts everywhere.
But we're not going to try. Meaning we're not going to talk about.
But look, if we're talking about a show, we're talking about a show, and if it's a show that's streaming, it means you've had some opportunity to watch it.
I'm going to try not to bring out huge plot points or anything spoilers. Okay.
That's fine.
So if you spoil stuff.
Why don't you go first?
All right.
Because I always go first. You go first. Give me your number 10.
So we're not doing any. Are we doing picks of the week? I think we are.
Yeah, we'll do pick of the week.
All right.
At the end.
All right, great.
I did a streaming thing.
I have some stats on my top 10. Yeah, I do. But I just want to say.
That's so ridiculous.
My first stat is that only 3 of my top 10 are still on TV. So I thought it was an interesting stat.
How many of mine are still on TV?
So why don't you give me your stat of how many are currently on TV? Meaning they're still being aired somewhere or have another season to go.
6.
Okay. 0 of mine are sitcoms. How many years are sitcoms?
Sitcoms are
situated comedy. It's a pretty easy thing.
Kind of a weird word because, I mean, I could say some of these are and I could say some of them aren't.
All right. Well,
I have 3 comedies.
Okay, 3 comedies. All right, so I'm not going to give away the other one because it's too much of a giveaway. We'll come back to it because it's a fun stat. All right, my number 10, the 10th best show that I think you can find.
Go on.
And stream.
Go on.
Right now.
Go on.
Is a little show that I like to call. Oh, you're getting so excited?
I can't wait. Why don't you just say it?
Breaking Bad.
Oh, that's my number 2.
Wow, that's a big gap.
Well, it's like one of the greatest TV shows in history.
I will say that as I started to rank them, one of the things I thought about was longevity, completeness, and as I read through lists of hundreds of the top 100, so I was thinking about things I wanted to come back to. Like, you are a little bit of a nut in that you watch shows over and over and over again. And I know that
if they're really good, I will watch them over.
And I know that you're number 1, because I know you're number 1. It's a little obvious, but we won't say it. We'll wait. I know you've watched like 6 times.
Correct.
The entire
whole series 6 times.
over and over again. All 5 seasons.
That's right.
That's cuckoo time. So what I'm saying is that when I was thinking about shows, and this is why some of my shows, like, I'm going to give an example, like, I'm going to throw The Office. So Office isn't on your list, is it?
No, it is not.
Okay. I really love The Office, but like the rewatchability of it to me is low, right?
No.
Right?
Yeah, I don't
Right.
care. Like if it's on at night or whatever, like I'll throw it on to go to sleep to or something.
Love it, right? Another one that was like wouldn't make my list. I know it's probably not on yours. Daily Show.
No.
I love The Daily Show. I watch it every night. I love The Daily Show. But I would never. It's not going to make my top 10
very
list because
topical.
right. So let's talk about Breaking Bad. Why do you love Breaking Bad? Why is it
what a show.
Why is it number year 2?
It's such an unbelievably well crafted, well put together, amazing looking, different show. Like
Yes.
it just breaks the mold of all convention on television to me.
I feel like it's riding on the shoulders of other shows, but okay.
I don't feel like I've ever seen a show like it.
I think it's one of the best long-term storyline shows, meaning taking a character, and trying not to give spoilers here, but taking a character through a multiple set of seasons and episodes and whatever, and really transforming them.
And
whereas a lot of shows, the person who starts the show and the person who ends the show, and it's the one we get down one on my list, which we'll talk about later, and maybe we'll compare and contrast. Like, they didn't transform that much. They're great characters, but they don't transform.
The brilliance of Breaking Bad is there are 5 seasons to stream
Right.
on Netflix.
Yep.
It's on AMC.
Yep.
Those 5 seasons take place over the course of 1 calendar year. So the transformation of this main character, Walter White, takes place over the course of 1 year.
Right.
And that is incredible.
And there's no better time to get into Breaking Bad than
Right now,
because the final season's started or whatever.
I've seen exactly 1 more episode of Breaking Bad than you have.
Right, and you'll see all of them because I'm TiVoing them. I won't watch them until it's over. Oh, and I might, as you went, and I can rewatch.
Yes,
them.
I
Right.
rewatched the season 5 in the week leading up to this second half of season 5.
So my number 10, your number 2, Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, what a show!
Number 10 for you
Just
is...
stole my thunder. See, now when I get to my number 2, what do I do?
No, you'll say, oh, it's my number 2.
See, that's why I had
No.
4 extra shows.
It works
listed
fine.
here.
It works fine. Now you talk your number 10.
All right.
Because it might not be on my list at all.
This is the only show that I've selected that has less than 3 seasons complete that you can watch.
Oh, interesting.
It actually only has 1 season.
Oh.
And the reason why it made it at number 10 was because of, I think it's a very watchable, very good show, and B, it was kind of the first of its kind, House of Cards.
Interesting.
So I threw it on here being the streaming show, and I threw it on at number 10 because I didn't want to throw it really up the list, because this is a Netflix original. It was their first really big Netflix original that they really put some money and time into, and allowed us to watch as like a binge watch.
Right.
Here's the season.
Right.
Here it is, all of it. Go watch it. And it's only had the 1 season so far. I thought it's extremely good.
It's about political intrigue in DC.
Yeah.
I'll give you that much.
Yeah.
It's a
Kevin
modern
Spacey
day
stars in it.
political intrigue, backstabbing, politics. Like,
And
it's sort of like a very
to me,
serious
it's like
version of Veep.
Yeah, and it has the quality of being like a very well-made, like, now when you think like quality, you think like an HBO or a Showtime or
Right.
like that kind of quality to it. And while there has only been 1 season, there's going to be another. That's why it makes the list, because I know that it keeps going.
Right.
And it's a really good show.
See, I
know you don't like the idea of 1 season. You always like if it. You wait for like 2 or even 3 seasons to even
there
get
are
into
a couple.
show.
There's one example on my list, and we'll get to it deeper down. That is sort of that doesn't live up to my sort of one of my things. Is it's got to be something that I feel like has proven itself, and so it's either proven itself over the test of time, or it's proven itself in that I look back on it. That's 1 season, and while I'm kind of excited about the next season could just be terrible, and therefore I don't feel like it should make my top 10 list ever.
Yeah,
So
I threw it on there because it was the first of its kind in a new streaming world, and that it was released the way it was released on Netflix. Here's the whole series, or here's the whole season. Roll with it.
So, question for you.
Answer.
Have you, as any of the new Hulu Plus shows, have you watched any of them?
None of them.
Why is it that the Netflix shows have been released, same thing, same theory, but like I've watched 2 or maybe 3 of the Netflix originals now, but I've never watched any of the Hulu Plus ones.
Commercials, probably.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right.
I just don't have the patience for it. If I'm watching something streaming and I'm paying you to watch it, thank you to commercials.
Okay, cool. All right, so am I doing number 9, or do you want to keep going number 9?
No, you go. We're alternating.
Right. Number 9, for me, is a show that's still on TV. So it's one of my 3.
Okay.
So Breaking Bad still on TV. Downton Abbey, my number 9. Sorry, came out too quickly. So this is
not on my list. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Only saw one episode. Couldn't get into it.
No, this is not a one episode
thing.
I
know. I
this
need to give it some
is
time.
a binge watch, and there's no other way to take this. I would, even though I'm someone who only binge watches shows, I'm saying there are shows like Breaking Bad, like others that we'll talk about later, that you could watch week to week, and they're so good that you wouldn't lose that much. This is a show about going into a time zone and just getting immersed in it, and the characters and the language and the thing are so in depth. It's so good. Does it cross the soap opera land? Yes, but it is a great show. It is fun. It's just a really, really good show. And so this one kind of now there's been 3 seasons. 2 of them are available on Netflix, I think. The third one is you can purchase online. I think maybe you could see it on maybe one of the BBC or PBS ones. If you just have not watched, and again, the only way to watch Downton Abbey is to binge, and to binge fully and heartily and give it a lot of shows, because it starts to really get to you. It's just you just get so caught up in it. So that's my number 9.
All right.
What's your 9?
My number 9 is a show that I don't think gets the appreciation that it deserves. It's on HBO. It's had 3 seasons so far. Its 4th season is going to be the last season. It's going to start on HBO, I think, in December-ish. And it's Treme. I don't think a lot of people watch Treme.
I wonder why.
Well, it's really great. Made by David Simon.
Yep.
Who is...
So what's it about?
Well, it's about New Orleans in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. And it's just a tale of people in a city and their, triumphs and their failures and just like a tale of urban life, very much like David Simon's other works, which will be mentioned later. But it's just a great story about great characters, and it's just really good like storytelling. And I really love New Orleans, so like I really get into like lots of great music on the show. You really feel like the culture. You feel it. It just feels good.
You can smell the rotting beer on the streets.
It's just great. I love Treme. I know a lot of people don't like it.
Do you know anybody else who likes it besides you and the little lady?
Yes.
Okay.
I know two of my friends watch it and we talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tried 3 episodes, which isn't enough for HBO shows. It's not enough. I know this, and maybe it needs another kick in the butt or two. The characters were just all over the place. They all seem to be.
There's a lot of characters.
It just didn't seem to be like I wanted to care about for 3 episodes.
Well,
yeah.
I love Treme.
All right, so that's your number 9. Is Treme.
My number 9. You can see it on HBO Go.
All right, so
3 seasons. The 4th will be the last.
So my number 8.
Yeah.
You can also see on HBO.
Okay.
And you're probably gonna be surprised that it's where it is. Although I don't know. No, wait. No. Yeah, you probably will. It's a show that I don't think anybody's heard of. It's very no one's talked about it ever.
Really?
It's just it's under the radar. Like I think I might be one of the few people on the planet who knows. It's a little show about dragons and thrones and games you play on thrones.
Khaleesi's.
And Khaleesi's. Yeah, so Game of Thrones is my number 8. And again, could Could Game of Thrones possibly be number one? Absolutely. It has the potential. It's like drafting someone. It's like, this wide receiver has the potential to go all the way. Totally. But 3 seasons in, not enough to judge. You can't go farther than that. In fact, this is my other thing. That's the last of my episodes that are still on. That's it. Those 3 are the only 3 that are on. Everything else is done.
So Game of Thrones is not on my list.
Whoa!
It's on my
Crazy
reserve
sauce.
list.
How could it not be on your list?
It's on my reserve
wait.
list.
How could House of Cards make your list and Game of Thrones not make your list?
Game of
That's
Thrones
ridiculous.
is number 11 because I wanted to get House of Cards in there for the streaming aspect, and I probably could have put Game of Thrones in there over Treme because I like them just about the same. But I knew you were going to put Game of Thrones on your list, so I sort of just didn't throw it on mine.
Oh.
It could have been there. It's like anything from for me, anything like from 8 down is like somewhat interchangeable.
Oh, that's just absolutely ridiculous. There are shows that I will
like
not.
a top 10. I can't draw like a hard line.
No, I literally look at every one of these and I'm like, is that better than that? And I go, yes. Is that better than that? No. And then it flips it up. Like, it's better. It's truth. It's theory. It's 1 through 10. This is Sophie's choice.
No.
If you trap me on an island,
I'm not playing it that way.
If you trap me on an island and I had to take 10 shows with me, these are the 10 shows I would take.
All right. You ready for my number 8?
Although some I might swap out for bigger, longer shows so I can watch longer shows.
So there you go.
All right, what's your number 8?
For my number 8? My number 8 is Arrested Development.
Interesting.
So 4 seasons now on Netflix. The 4th season was a Netflix original, not as good as the original 3 episodes.
Should have been
3 seasons.
Not brought back, but anyway.
So the original 3 were fantastic from Fox, and then now Netflix. The 4th season, Netflix original, just came out this year. I would say worth watching if you're a Arrested Development fan, for sure. But I can watch. Yes, don't give me that face.
No,
it's
I
totally
have my
worth
opinion.
watching.
Maybe it's worth watching if you have Netflix.
That's what I said. It's worth watching if you're a fan of Arrested Development. You're not going to just let it sit there and not watch it.
But I honestly, after watching it, I'm not feeling.
Should watch it again.
Oh,
it got better. Like, you watch it again, you're like, oh, there's all these little things I missed.
It's so.
It's hard to. I mean, that's the kind of show, Arrested Development, that if you watch it more, it gets better. It's like Step Brothers, the movie.
Yeah, whatever.
It's good the first time. It's great the 12th time.
It did not make my list
Arrested
primarily
Development
because
makes my list
because the last.
It's in my comedy block. This is my comedy block. I've got 3 in a row that are comedies.
Oof.
This is the start.
Yeah. So Arrested Development, the first 3 seasons are very good.
Classics.
This last season that they picked up on just doesn't. It's just
it wasn't
like,
Arrested Development.
It's like
there was an issue.
You put the thing back together. Well, hold on. Let me talk.
All right.
I
was going to defend it.
You take a show that fell off the wall and you try to put it back together, and it's never right again. And there was too much time that went on, and the way they shot it with it was interesting, and there is some fascinating to it, but it's just. It doesn't have the heart of the first 3.
Well, it's such an ensemble cast that works so well together, and you can tell that they couldn't get them all together. So all the shows
in
are
one
very
room together.
Yeah,
maybe once.
There's so many scenes that you can you kind of see it over and over and over again
because they're shooting from different angles because they're not in the same room.
So it's like a little odd. But again,
I would say
first 3 seasons, go get it.
Totally, but I would say. This last one, I'm hoping the next one. They say to do another one or no?
Don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
Maybe
there is. Maybe there aren't.
All right. So that was your number 8.
What's your next? Yeah, that was my number 8.
My number 7
is
gonna break your heart.
Oh, don't break my heart.
It's gonna break your heart. My number 7 is my first of everything that's done. It was only on for a mere 5 seasons.
You're killing me.
I'm killing you.
I can't believe this is 7.
Yep.
You're killing me. You're out of order.
And it's your number 1.
Totally.
And it's The Wire.
How could that not be in your top 3? It's like
not.
One of the great. It is, in my opinion, my humble opinion,
everything you say is
the greatest television show in the history of television.
No,
absolutely. No. I cannot imagine you coming up with now. That was your 6 shows that are better than that.
Yep. They're all better.
I cannot imagine.
They're all better. Listen, The Wire is incredible. It's a great show. But I thought about it as what attracts me. What do I want to go back and rewatch? So now, from everything from 7 to 1 are all shows that are done. And I think, what show do I like? I'm like hungry to watch again, right? What show am I?
And The Wire ranks 7th on that list.
Yeah,
I have watched The Wire,
but
wire to
cuckoo.
wire, 6 times.
But that's cuckoo.
It's not
that's
cuckoo.
not normal.
You get more out of it every time. It's that good. It's that intricate.
And you know what? It deserves a rewatch. It totally does. I have not rewatched it.
So now you've stolen 2 of mine. So what do I do when I get to 2 and 1? Oh, Justin's done.
Your draft
I'm
picks
just
are
done. Like that stinks.
We can talk about we'll talk about why you love The Wire when you get to number 1.
Fine.
All right. What's your number 7? I'm sure you're gonna pick one of mine out of here.
Number 7. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh my God, you're not. You're literally just going down these.
I've got my own favorite shows. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
At least we're giving people variety
on FX. 8 seasons now. That I think you can stream 7 of them on Netflix.
Yeah, there's a lot on Netflix,
and there's new seasons starting in like 3 weeks on FXX, the new FX station. It's like they've broken out.
Of course they did.
FXX has broken out into like the comedy part. Like FX, and it's kind of unfortunate. This is my only FX show because they do some great stuff. And FXX is going to be like the comedy wing. So It's Always Sunny and Louie and The League. They're all going to go over to FXX, I believe.
Right.
It's Always Sunny is just so incredibly funny. And it's this 5-person cast that they're the most despicable human beings on the planet, and they like hate each other, but they're the gang, and they just get into trouble every week, and they're just so fun to watch them like make fun of each other. Basically, it's just a barrel of laughs.
You could just tell from that description, you're like, God, I gotta go watch that immediately.
It's so funny.
The only thing that it has going for it,
season 1 doesn't have Danny DeVito in it, so season 1 is a little different than, I mean, the tone of the show is the same, but once Danny DeVito comes in,
yes,
it hits like another level.
I think I watched 2.5 seasons on your recommendation. It got, and there is a point of it which you pointed out, which I do like, which is that there's a lot of like, as you watch it, it kind of builds on itself like a snowball or whatever. But it also is very repetitive and very kind of like the thing of the week. And my tolerance for sitcoms is so
See, I don't
low.
even consider that.
It's a sitcom. It's literally a 30-minute show, situation comedy about 5 guys in a bar.
I think the word sitcom needs to be redefined because I don't really think of that as like when I, growing up, like the sitcom, like Cheers or
literally
like,
5 guys in a bar.
Yeah, but it's
you
like
mean like
such a different show
it's
than that.
Darker and supposed to be more.
The whole
single
camera thing, I think, redefined the way that the sitcom is
so
done.
You said you're only FX dog?
I'm not saying It's Always Sunny was the first to do single camera stuff like that, but like to me, that is comedy, not sitcom.
So your only FX show?
Yeah, that's
so
my only
League
FX show.
Didn't make your list.
It's on my my 4 that I put as my extra innings. The League is on there. The League's on the list. It's just not in the top 10.
So it's not in the list.
No.
It's just interesting because to
the
me,
League's not on your list, is it?
No, but that's why I'm mentioning it.
But you would put the League ahead of that, but I would not.
I would put the League ahead of Always Sunny.
No way. Not a chance.
All right, that was your 7?
That was 7.
All right, my 6 is going to hurt you too. No, it's not going to hurt you.
You're just going first, so you're just...
Well, you go to your 6. Give me your 6.
No, go ahead.
All right,
keep going.
All
just
right.
keep the order and break my heart again.
No. This isn't going to break your heart. But now that you know where I have The Wire, everything's going to break your heart.
Every single one of your shows have finished already. They're done.
Everyone from now on.
So 1, 2, 3. I mean, I've only got 4 shows left that are mine. 3 of them are done. So I'm hoping. I'm sure 2 of them are going to be on the list.
Probably.
Go ahead.
One of them probably. And this is a show that, again, we watched this. This one still just gives me like apoplexy when I think about it. The speed, the craziness of it. I think if I went back and watched, I do want to go back and watch it, but I think if I went back, I'd see a lot of the campiness of it a little bit. But I think it was like the start of the insane shows that like people were like, did you see that show last week?
What is it?
The Shield.
Ah, very good.
And The Shield is like again, there are so many of these shows now. Like, so other ones, and I don't know. I mean, I don't want to bust, whatever. There's other shows like this now. We said no other FXs, right?
I do not have any other.
So
FXs.
like stuff like Justified,
yeah, or
which
Sons
we
of
both
Anarchy.
that we love.
There's
Sons
lots of good
Anarchy.
FX shows.
I know, but don't name them all because some of them could be on my list.
Oh,
but Sons is still
you
going.
Said
so you're
ones
right.
that are still going. All these are still going.
Those are shows that I think are all like, they all fell off the tree of The Shield. The Shield started this, and it is. If you have not watched it or don't know anything about it,
go watch it.
Oh,
lots of
watch
seasons.
it.
7,
Yeah.
8 seasons.
And there are plots that go through the entire thing.
Yep.
And yes, it goes
and
insane.
the thing about The Shield is, if you watch the pilot and don't like it, then it's not for you. But if you watch the pilot
and you're hooked,
you're hooked. That's it. Because
Yeah.
the pilot was like, if you remember, the pilot was
I barely do.
The way it ended was like,
crazy insane.
I need to watch the next episode
Yes.
of this.
This is a binge watcher's dream because you just go out there and just start watching.
Vic Mackey could be one of the best characters on television.
Yes, he is. He definitely is. I mean, he's up there.
One of my first iPods was named Vic Mackey.
Nice.
Remember you name them?
So The Shield didn't make your list.
No, it didn't.
He just talked about how it's one of the best characters ever, and it didn't make your list.
No,
All right,
it
what's
did
your
not.
6?
It did not.
Hopefully, you're gonna hit one of mine.
This one's not. This is another comedy. I'm in my comedy block here.
Yeah.
30 Rock. I love me some 30 Rock. I love 30 Rock. I think it's like one of the funniest shows in the last 10 years. And it was on NBC.
This is your
and
6.
Yeah.
6th best
Do you know
show
how
of all
often
time.
I watch 30 Rock? It's like not even funny.
Is there a group for people who watch TV over and over again? Because you need to join that group.
To be in that group. I can recite 30 Rock. Like to me, it's just so funny. It's so like there's so many jokes packed into one episode that it's overwhelmingly funny.
Yeah, but it's very hip. It's very with it. It's very hip. It's very baka. I don't see the rewatchability of it because it's got that kind of. It's kind of like the big sitcoms of the 80s and 90s. Like once they're over, like you go back and watch. Have you ever gone back and watched like an episode of Cosby Show? And you just it's like going into a bad time machine. You're like, this is so 80s campy. At the time, it was the #1 show of all time. Now you look back, or even Cheers. Cheers was amazing back in the day. You're probably like 4 years old, but like
I've seen both of these shows.
It was amazing at the time, and she rocked the greatest thing ever. But you look back, and it's like it has so much sort of campiness, and I think that it's very well written. It's really, really good. But
there was one season that wasn't as good as the rest of them. But
is that when he went off to some retreat? And
there
was in the show?
Season that wasn't as good. I can't remember which one, but for the most part, they're all good, and I think they're just hysterical.
I mean, if you're asking for, do you have any other comedies?
No, and now we're jumping into like my pantheon, my top 5, which you've already broken the first 2.
All right,
so
but I want to throw out some other ones because I think if you're saying 30 Rock, I'm going to throw out like 2 or 3 that I think are 10 times better than.
I have other comedies that are just listed here, but
like Scrubs.
No,
is really good. Like Scrubs is better than 30 Rock. It's a better show. It's more heart. It actually has like character and growth to it. There's no character and growth to 30 Rock. It's just a bunch of guys doing the same thing over and over and over again. They walk away one week, they come back next week, and they're still crazy. But like Scrubs, like they change, and it's funny as heck. So that's the one I would throw in if you're
the
looking
other
for
comedy that I was looking to throw in there was Curb Your Enthusiasm, but I did not.
Oh, good.
There's lots of episodes of that too.
All right, what am I going for? 5?
5. We're in the top 5.
Top 5. Here we go. We're 28 minutes in.
Let's try and wrap. Well, you've already taken 2 of mine.
That's true.
So
It'll be quick. So this is the one
this
that
is gonna stink.
This
You're just gonna ruin my entire top 5 by not letting me break any of them. Go ahead.
I said you go first.
Go
You
ahead.
told me to go. This is why I always make you go first.
ahead. Go on.
Well, this won't be on your list because I don't even think
Good.
you've seen this show.
Good. I don't want it on my list.
Okay.
It's in your top 5 and not on my list.
It's not on your list.
All right. What is it?
It's the breaking to my thing of being multi-seasonal, being whatever. But it is so good, and it is the show that if you said to me, what show should Netflix go and re-sign immediately and like try to do again? Like what show was left too early? This is probably the second show that I'd pick, but Firefly.
I knew you were gonna say Firefly.
Firefly is
Should I watch that one season?
It's one season with a movie, and I can't remember. Just go look up whether you should watch the movie first or the season. I think it's the season and the movie. It is so well done. It is so original. And yes, it's got Star Trek overtones or undertones, but it's so good. I think it's on Netflix and iTunes. It is a really, really good show, and it hurts. It hurts because it's so good. At least you get the movie at the end. It's at the end. So I think they did this season. They killed it. Huge outrage. They decided to do a movie. They never brought it back. But Firefly, again, it's a sci-fi thing, but it's got some great, great characters. Like, I miss it. Like, I miss Firefly. I watched it 6 years ago. So Firefly makes my 5.
Firefly.
What's your 5?
Good. I get to get this one in there.
Oh, good.
So I get to get Deadwood in there at 5.
Deadwood didn't make my list.
Deadwood didn't even make your list. Why?
No, go ahead. Tell me about Deadwood.
Right?
Tell me about Deadwood.
Deadwood was just so gritty. It was like this Western that you've never seen before. It's like, oh yeah, Old West. But here it is with some words I can't say on this podcast at all.
None of them.
Not one.
Barely even talk about the
and
show.
Also one of, in my humble opinion, one of the best characters on TV in Al Swearingen. I mean, Al Swearingen and Ian McShane, who plays Al Swearingen in Deadwood, is just worth the price of admission. I mean, he's incredible. And you watch Deadwood. Deadwood was on HBO. 3 seasons. Was not supposed to be 3 seasons. Was supposed to be 4. They never made the 4th. So if that dissuades you in any way,
no,
I wouldn't let it dissuade you. Nope. So you should watch it if you haven't, because it's good. Just know that it didn't necessarily end the way that it was supposed to end. There was more to it. It just ends like a season, not like a series.
Right.
It ended, but didn't end as well as it could have. But it's totally worth the price of admission on HBO Go.
I totally disagree.
Whatever, fine.
No, because it's my number 1 show.
Oh, it's number 1.
It's the show that I think about constantly. It's the only show of these entire 10 that I've ever watched again. So I'm the guy who never watches a show again, ever.
Yeah.
It's the only show on this total list, other than Game of Thrones, like a recap to like get ready for the next season, that my wife and I we watched the whole season again.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And I enjoyed it just as, if not more, the second time. Again, there's all these shows I want to go back and watch, but there's a difference of like, oh, I'd like to go back and watch The Shield. I'd like to go back and watch The Wire. But then there's Deadwood, which I have, and it's so good. It's so good. It's painfully so good. It's like a thing captured in time. It is my number 1. So there you go. You broke my number 1.
I got your number 1.
You happy?
I am happy. Well, we agree on like something in the top 5 there. That's pretty good. Oh. And it's so crazy, Deadwood. Like, when you start the first season and you're like, oh, and again, I won't really spoil Deadwood. I feel like I could, but if you haven't seen it now,
no, I think it's like an underground thing. I don't think a lot of people have seen it.
I mean, you're watching it and you're like, oh, here's this guy who's going to be around on this show, right?
Right.
And then it's like, oh, I guess nobody's safe on this show.
Right. Well, that's Game of Thrones-ish too. Like they do that in Game of Thrones, which everybody's
but 4 or 5 episodes into the first season, and you're like, whoa, that guy really?
But the best part of Deadwood is watching the Deadwood off-spin characters and watching them show up in shows like Justified, and where you're like
Timothy Olyphant,
or you like,
oh, there's Bullock.
Yeah. The only reason to watch Justified, it's an okay show. It's got some, but it's literally because if you just close your eyes and squint, it could be Bullock.
Well, you've got Deadwood and you've got The Shield.
I know. That's why.
There's Bullock and Shane.
Yep. All right. So that's your 5.
That's my 5. You're 1.
So 4, I have been talking about. You have not watched. I know because we've talked about you not watching it. It is the next show that I go rewatch. We're just waiting to figure out when we have time to do it because I don't know where you get your time to go watch all these things. Which I know
I don't sleep.
It is crazy, crazy sauce. It is the one that I feel like nobody will go out and watch, but you're all missing one of the best shows to ever be on television, ever.
What is it already?
Battlestar Galactica. The 2005 version, not the old campy 80s version. The 2005 version, I think it had...
you set the record for the use of the word campy. You've used it about 7 or 8 times.
I get paid by United States Camp Association. It is so it's the story of Try not to bust it.
And I tried to watch this, so I didn't. I started with the miniseries because I think that's where you're supposed to start.
Yeah, it's one of those where you have to figure out where to pick it.
I did not like it. Like I couldn't get into the miniseries because I tried. I just couldn't do it.
I don't know if it starts with maybe it does start with a miniseries.
It's like a 4-episode thing where all the episodes are different lengths. I just couldn't get into it.
It's multi-seasonal. It's like 7 seasons. I will say, like most things that go 8 or 9 seasons, there's a point at which you feel like, oh, maybe they should have stopped somewhere in there. But it is so good. It's an overarching plot. It is original. Yes, there's Cylons. Yes, it's about space, whatever. But it's got some of the best acting. It's got great, not even special effects, but just great, because they kind of mix this whole thing of being old and new. So like there's spaceships, but they're like spaceships that like they still look like they were made by like men with like hammers. Like they don't look shiny. It is just really good. There's amazing actors in it. I don't know. There's too much to say. Again, the wife and I, this is the one we just say we gotta rewatch it. We gotta rewatch it. We're so excited to rewatch it. I want enough time to pass so I don't remember it. I would take a pill called the Forget Me pill, like from Arrested Development. See,
there you go.
I would take that pill if I could forget this entire season so I could rewatch it and just feel the love of them again. I think we watched it in 2 weeks, all 7 episodes, 7 seasons. We went nuts. That's my 4. What's your 4?
Incredible.
I can't believe you haven't hit one of my other 2s in here.
So number 4 is The Sopranos.
All right.
Mic drop. Like,
yeah.
What else? What do I have to say?
Yeah.
What do I have to say about The Sopranos? Except it ended up at no, that's not 4. That's 4. I mean, Sopranos is 4.
That's
so,
crazy.
Like, yeah, I feel like it could be higher. Like, here's the thing for me. I have a top 5. And you've already heard The Wire 1.
Right.
That doesn't move. The other 4, of which now you've heard Deadwood, Sopranos, and Breaking Bad, and the one that I'm going to give you in a minute or two, those fluctuate depending on my mood and what's going on. So Sopranos for me at the moment is 4. I feel like it ushered in this new era of awesome television. And like really like kicked HBO into high gear. I know Oz was around, and Arliss and Sex and the City and a few other shows, but it was The Sopranos. It was Sunday night, and it was The Sopranos, and that was that.
I mean, that sound of that HBO sound, still, no matter what show I'm watching, I still think Sopranos.
Sopranos.
Yeah.
And you can go ahead and watch it on HBO Go, and I think 6 seasons of The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Although I think the 6th season was like 6A, 6B.
Yeah.
Kind of like Breaking Bad is now like 5A and 5B.
So that was my number 3. So it's perfect timing. Totally. I mean,
you don't even really have to say much. It's Sopranos.
But no, because I think at this point, it's. I think people. It's been so long that there are people who have not watched it. We were talking to someone the other day, and it's like, oh, I've never watched it. I was like,
that's incredible.
That's incredible, right?
The little lady hasn't watched it, and it's totally on the list. It's like we gotta watch
because you're spending so much time rewatching 30 Rock and
but like those are like nighttime fall asleep shows. Like Sopranos,
so
needs
good.
To be
I fall asleep to
watched.
It. Yes.
Like, paid attention to.
It's ridiculous you haven't watched that. Anybody hasn't watched that should
We're gonna rewatch it.
Thrown out of America.
We're gonna rewatch it. So what are we up to? You're number 3.
Oh, well, we know my number 1. So now we're down.
You're up to your number 3, which you just.
We
said
only have
Sopranos.
one more that we don't know because you know my number 1. I know your number 1 and 2.
I don't know your number 2.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. We only have
go
one
ahead.
left.
Go with your number 2, and then I'll go with my number 3.
Well, go with your number 3, then I'll go 2.
All right, Mad Men.
Interesting.
Mad Men, AMC. So I have 2 AMC shows on here, back to back, Breaking Bad and Mad Men, 2 and 3. And I mean, if Breaking Bad didn't just come back, it might have been Mad Men 2 and Breaking Bad 3, because Mad Men just ended in July. So it's kind of like what mood I'm in. That's why sometimes like The Sopranos will just vault itself up to number 2. Like The Wire just never leaves the number 1 spot ever, but Mad Men is fantastic, phenomenal. Don Draper, the whole feel, the 60s, Madison Avenue, really good writing. Matthew, I don't know if it's Weiner or Wiener. He wrote for The Sopranos for David Chase. It was actually, he pitched it to David Chase and HBO, and they didn't bite which is a big mistake on their part. AMC, I think it kind of put AMC on the map too. It was before Breaking Bad, and it's pretty fantastic.
So wait a
show.
second. How did Walking Dead miss both of our top 10 lists?
Because it's not a good show.
Wow. Because you used to love
I don't like it.
Walking Dead.
I hate Walking Dead.
You used to love it.
I really liked it, and then I realized this show's not that good.
All right.
So I hate watch it.
It's funny because for me, Mad Men makes my almost list, but
like Breaking Bad's over. Breaking Bad's over now.
yes,
Mad Men has one more season left in it.
Right.
After that, I don't know what AMC's gonna do. I know Walking Dead gets the biggest ratings, I guess, but to me, it's not that good a show. And then the rest of their shows, The Killing's kind of crap, and that other show with the train, that show's kind of garbage. I don't know what they're gonna do. This AMC.
I don't know. To me, Mad Men suffers from longevity. Every season that's gone by since I think the second or third, I've just felt less and less for it, to the point where I think I just finished the entire season, the last season. Like, we watched it in like a couple days or whatever, and I'm like, okay, what happened? Do I care? Like, it's lost me because I think the characters they've just all fallen off a cliff. They're all just, I don't know, they're all just paper cutouts of characters. They don't grow, and they just turn into sort of this repeating thing. So Mad Men, to me, it was really good, and just every season has sort of made me like it less and less. Walking Dead, I think, is kind of true. That first season was so kind of crazy, and the second season you're like, oh, okay, but we're going to get back to what you had that in the first season, and then the third season you're like, oh, well, now you're kind of just battling humans.
That whole season where they were like stuck on the farm was like, get this over with already. The whole show just isn't that good.
Walking Dead is very good. It's just the last season. It's sort of losing itself because it's like it should be a big long movie. It shouldn't just be the season.
Do you know what
that goes
the
on
difference is between Walking Dead and Breaking Bad and Mad Men? Breaking Bad and Mad Men have excellent writers and actors. Walking Dead has neither. Nobody on Walking Dead's ever winning anything at the Emmys. Not that,
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever. But let's use that as a barometer, because
I don't want to.
Well, because Bryan Cranston wins pretty much every year there's a Breaking Bad series, and he pretty much deserves it.
He's an incredible actor. That's why that show, Breaking Bad's, on the list.
Rick is not making that list.
No.
Nobody on that show is, which kind of makes a big reason why it's not that good.
All right, so my number one is Deadwood. My number two, again, this is just it. I think people are going to get crazed and tell me I'm full of it, but
you're full of it. So full of it. Go on. What is it?
It's not Lost.
Lost didn't make any of our lists.
I know. I'm just looking over the ones that I have as my,
I look back at Lost and I'm like, oh, I wish it kind of ended in like season 4.
Yeah, Lost
just went on a little too long.
So this one is, all I can say is, take a pill of trust.
Don't
judge
judge
me, and just really try it.
So what is it?
Because it is, and forget the movie. When I say these, do not think of the movie. It's not the movie. It's nothing to do with the movie. I mean, it does, but don't think about the movie. Just go watch the series. It is The Last Airbender. Is Avatar from Nickelodeon.
You've told me about this.
Yeah. It is this cartoon. Everybody goes, what? It's a cartoon. It's about a time somewhere in the past, but mythical time, where there are 4 nations who all have different powers, air power,
don't give
water,
it away.
Whatever. No, this is like the 4-second opener. 4 powers. One of the nations is gone except for one. There's one left of them. There's people who can bend air. It means they can control air. It's the last airbender. And his whole thing is he's this young kid who's been sort of stuck in stuck for 100 years, sort of in a ice thing. So like he's 100 years old, but he's an 8-year-old, and he's the last of his kind. And his thing is that he is supposed to be the prophet to come unite the world again, because everybody's battling. The fire nation is battling the earth
Sounds
nation.
Great.
It's one of the most original stories. It is incredibly deep, and what's weird about it is it's this cartoon that has these really hokey moments where like their eyes pop open wide and they're like, woo! And you just want to think, and you get there and you're like, oh, this is like this hokey thing. But it just builds and builds and builds, and you care more and more and more for these characters. And by the end, and I've heard people say this, so I'm going to repeat it. I didn't think it up. I've heard people say it is a modern day Star Wars-esque storyline, meaning it's got that kind of depth to it, that there are multiple seasons and whatever.
You know what's surprising?
What?
Not one reality show on any of our streaming things. Oh, like Gold Rush. Like this is like strictly like streaming. Like you could pound through some Gold Rush. You could pound through some Swamp People.
Ugh, no.
I mean, we went strictly. I mean, I don't know if you had any comedies on your list.
No. I mean, well, The Last Airbender you could say is it's a 30-minute show, but it is epic.
Like, no, never. Like, no. Comedy, blah.
Because I don't
like fun.
I love on my list of almost. Because again, if you're going to go for comedies, I think things like Community and Parks and Rec.
Oh, 30 Rock's far better.
Really good, better than both.
Community.
Better than 30 Rock. The Office. I mean, the stuff that's sort of been on recently. Scrubs is great. There's shows. There's one show that I feel like. There's two shows that I feel like could have made the list. One that I feel bad. I don't feel like it's a show, so I couldn't put it on. Is
had the same thing.
Band of Brothers.
Yeah, I had a very similar. I have 30 for 30. Like there were all these 30 for 30 documentaries from ESPN.
They're not really a show.
They're not really a series, but there's like 40 of them that you can go watch, and they're all amazing if you like sports.
Have you seen Band of Brothers?
I tried Band of Brothers. I just didn't like it. I know it has the guy from Homeland in it, right?
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's the thing like you take the day and you watch Band of Brothers.
Yeah,
it's
maybe
unbelievable.
I'll watch it. It's on HBO Go, right?
Unbelievable, yeah.
Right.
And then the other one's Friday Night Lights. Friday Night Lights really
killed
good.
me with season 2. Because season 2 didn't end, and it was just a crapshoot.
Yeah.
It was awful. Like, I don't know what happened.
It goes up and down, because I think it switched networks.
Something happened where season 2 didn't end. Like, I feel like the writer's strike happened maybe in the middle of it.
Maybe.
And it was like,
but it went through 4 or 5 seasons.
Season 1, really good.
Really good.
Really good. I would stop there. That's my recommendation.
Keep going, because if you like the characters, you get enough out of the next 3 seasons that it's good. It does go downhill.
It goes down.
But it's still worth it, because it's
and it has Wallace from The Wire in it in season 4 and 5.
I mean, there are shows like
that.
True Blood that start off really strong as a first season and then go really downhill, and then you don't even want to watch. There's shows that, like Lost, and we talked about Lost.
We didn't mention Homeland, which is like everyone's darling right
too
now.
Early. Too early.
It's not too early for me. I just didn't make the cut for me.
No, it's too early and doesn't make the cut. Like, I look back and I'm like, would I want to go rewatch that or rather watch Deadwood again? I'm like, I'd rather watch Deadwood again.
It's not even close.
And then sitcoms, I was thinking like Daily Show. Here's this incredible show that I watch all the time. Then there's we didn't mention not Sopranos, Seinfeld, like the mother of all TV shows, or Simpsons, the mother of all TV shows, MASH or Cheers, or there's so many of these shows.
All right.
Anyway,
we did our thing.
All right,
we gave the people what they wanted.
All right, so you want to throw in one more? What's your number 11? You have one more.
I already kind of named them all.
Well, one. You have to throw one. Just one.
I said I would put Game of Thrones in there. That would be
that's a total travesty. Wasn't on your list. Travesty.
Total travesty that The Wire's not in your top 5.
It's on my top 10 of
top
all
5
time.
Is where it belongs. Top 3 is where it should be. Number 1 is ultimately where it should be.
Not even close. All right.
Well, it's obviously close because it's in the top 10. All right, let's go. At Picks of the Week, I'm picking Crackle. I used Crackle.
Do you really use this app?
I did on the Roku. It's a channel.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because I was listening to Howard Stern 3-4 weeks ago, and he had Jerry Seinfeld on. He was doing an interview. It was like an hour-long interview with Jerry Seinfeld. And Jerry Seinfeld said, I'm doing this new show. It's not really a podcast, but it's original content, and you can get it on Crackle. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Crackle's on my Roku.
Right.
Okay. So I went into Crackle. Yeah, you can get it on your iPad too, or mobile device. or on just going to crackle.com, and it's called like Riding in Cars with Comedians Getting Coffee or something like that. And it's just Jerry Seinfeld riding around with his favorite comedians just talking for like 15 to 20 minutes. It's like a 15 to 20 minute just chat with Seinfeld and someone else. And I've watched a few of them, and I liked them. And then I started browsing around Crackle, and I was like, oh, they have a decent amount of content on here. What I wasn't expecting was, like, I popped on a movie, and I was like, oh, I'll watch this movie. So I start watching on Crackle, and then, like, 15 minutes in, it goes to commercial. And I'm like, oh, I'm done with you, Crackle.
Oh, really?
Like, at that point for the movie, I was like, done.
Yeah.
Done with that. But they have a lot of original content, and this Jerry Seinfeld thing kind of caught me to go over there. So since it's a streaming show, I figured I'd pick a streaming app that you can get on your mobile or on your Roku box or whatever.
I had a hard time finding something that we've picked streaming everything. Right. We've picked literally ABC. I mean, we watch every TV streaming show app that you possibly could have. So what I am going to pick is something to help for those. So all of you who don't have children, you can turn off now. Okay. Everybody else is left.
Just turned out.
There's a great website called Common Sense Media, which is a website that ranks and has basically they rate movies and say what their age appropriateness, and then people review them and say what their age appropriate. So you can go on and they'll tell you what average, so if someone says, oh, this is good for 8-year-olds, and then they also say what the violence in it is, what the sex in it is, whatever. So it's a great app. And a great website, but they have an app called Kids Media for iOS. It's by Common Sense Media. What's nice is you're sitting there, you want to go watch, Monsters vs. Aliens, on some streaming whatever, and you want to look it up before you just pop it in and hit. You can't look at reviews, whatever. You really want to know, is this appropriate for my kid? I think the thing is, everybody's kids are different, so you just have to judge, like, well, does this have more sexual content or more, maybe there's a lot of, violence, or what are the words they use? So I've used it since my daughter watched on TV, so for, the last 5 years or so. And it's not always been right. Sometimes we've let her watch something that it said was okay, and she's been freaked out by it. It's definitely been all over. But it's just good to like go to it and sort of get a gist, like, oh, what's in this? Oh, they talk about this, and oh, the brother hits the guy over the head with a board and there's blood or whatever. Like, it just gives you a sense of it. So it's Common Sense Media is the website. If you go to it, it's really good. Then there's an app for the iPhone that you can look things up. And the nice new feature is you can set your kids in it. So you can say, oh, my kid is this much, this old. And then it will you can kind of say what's appropriate for them, and then it'll kind of filter it for you. So it'll filter to that age group.
Have you done the Netflix profiling thing yet?
I just started it up yesterday.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet.
In fact, I don't know if now that I've done it, I don't know if I do Netflix now, whether it should say to me, hey, who is watching this? And now I have to teach my child to go in as her, not as me.
That's dangerous. She can just go in as you.
Well, she's actually pretty good. If you just say, because then I say, oh, if you don't do that, you lose it. And then she goes, oh, okay.
And I'll know.
Well, yeah, and I know everything you watch. Because we were watching some, crazy, what were we watching? Orange is the New Black. And I know that
that's not appropriate for her.
She'd come out and she'd be like, what's this thing you're watching? Like, what are you talking about?
I finished Orange is the New Black, by the way. Well, we'll finish this podcast off with this.
Yes.
It kind of didn't end that great.
No.
I was like, meh. The last 3 or 4 episodes, I was like, yeah, all right.
It's meh.
When the next season comes out, I'll slog through it, I guess, like, whenever. Like, I won't watch it immediately. I don't care.
No.
I'll watch it. Just don't need to, like, I don't want it now. Like, I actually want the next episode of the next season of House of Cards.
Oh, yeah.
Now.
I want that now.
I want it.
Yes. I want to watch it.
I don't want the next season of Orange is the New Black just yet.
It's a good concept. Again, it feels like, and knowing that it came from Weeds and all that, it just feels like it was the lost episode.
Weeds didn't make
Weeds.
our
Nope, it was on my list.
Weeds could have easily made my list too.
Last couple of seasons, I haven't watched them, or I don't even know if I've watched them. If I don't care,
they're all on Netflix.
They
Every single
all
season
started
is
to
on
turn
Netflix.
into this like same thing over again. I don't know, just didn't make it for me. All right. Well, that's it for this
There it is.
episode.
TV, go at it.
Go at it. Go listen to our list. We will. I don't know. How do we post this on?
We'll post it when we post it. What do you mean?
No, but the actual list. Should we try to link to them?
Oh, the list? Nah, we don't need to do that.
Oh, okay.
That's unnecessary.
Justin just said no for you, so no list for you.
Listen back and write them down.
Right, we did talk about them.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe I'll put it in the comments. Maybe we'll throw our list in the comments. All right. Follow Justin at Just Edelstein. Follow me at Jason M. Atwood. Follow Arkus at Arkus Inc. Facebook.com/Arkus Inc. We're in the Dreamforce portal and the Success portal. We're on LinkedIn, Google+, iTunes. And until next time, we'll be back in what will seem like 2 weeks to us, but will really only be like a week to you. It's Jake and Justin saying, enjoy those cloudy days.